up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to my podcast. This is Hard Decisions and One-Way Streets. To give you a little bit of backstory on what this is going to be part one of 3 parts to a story I created. Really enjoy podcasts like Welcome to Night Vale and Alice Isn't Dead, like episodic, like bi-monthly or monthly content. I grew up in a time where waiting for Saturday morning cartoons was important, waiting for your next content where you had time in between episodes to digest things and to contemplate them, and I really like that idea. I really enjoy those, and so I wanted to create something like that. So I pulled together all the creative people around me to help me with the music, to help me with the editing, to help me work the story out, and this is what I came up with. I really appreciate you tuning in. I hope you tune in for the next 2 parts. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the story, and just thank you for listening. All the best.
Life is full of hard decisions. When a one-way streets,
Letter 1. Nightmares. Dear T, do you know what sleep paralysis is? I read somewhere that there are these chemicals in your brain that kick in while you are sleeping. These chemicals make sure you don't move around and do all the crazy stuff in real life that you're doing in your dreams. You see, I wake up, but I still can't move. That's sleep paralysis, sleeping paralysis, right? Anyways, I listened to this comedian talk about sleepwalking, but this is different. He went on and on telling, funny anecdotes about misadventures he had while he was sleepwalking through his house, but this is the opposite of that. This is not being able to move while you are awake. You're not supposed to be awake and not moving. It doesn't work like that. Let me be honest, because I want you to understand. My eyes get to move around, all fluttering in my head, but the rest of me lie there, jealous of all that fun. But when the paralysis happens, I'm still dreaming. I am. My body is asleep, but there I lie. It's a lucid coma, unable to force myself to make the slightest movement. The worst part is when you have a nightmare and this happens. The whole fun of nightmares is waking up and realizing it was a nightmare. But sometimes I lie there in my nightmare. I'm awake and I can't move, still in my nightmare. It's like something is holding me there, not letting me have the punchline to the scariest knock-knock joke ever written. At least if it was night terrors, I would remember. I'd get up and thrash around a bit and then go back to sleep. And to not remember that terror, that would be wonderful. Maybe it's about control. Have you ever just lost control of your body? How many times in your life have you been able to see and think but not move? Maybe right after a horrific car accident and they have you strapped into a gurney. That's not right, though. Being restrained isn't not being able to move. Even in a cast with a broken arm locked into one angle for weeks, you can still flex your muscles. Even restrained, you can pull against the straps. It's a subtle difference. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's like wanting to die, but not wanting to kill yourself. I know how that sounds, but it's the loss of the most basic thing you were ever given, the ability to control your own body. Not having the simplest things is often the scariest. People today think not having their phone will spin them out of control, but think about not being able to breathe, not being able to control any situation, being at the mercy of the universe. Wouldn't you be scared of that? So I'm in my bed, and I hear a noise. Up the steps lopes the bipedal noise of something less than human. Humans walk with a rhythm. Monsters can lurch and stride with an offbeat drum loop. Our brains are designed to take comfort in conformity. It is why we live in little boxes placed neatly beside one another. It's why our day-to-day lives are all straight and parallel. We measure beauty in symmetry. So by the same measure, something irregular, something as simple as footsteps in 5/8 time with no beat, can clap a vice around your heart. So up the steps, this noise, this irregularity, creeping into my sleep, labors itself into the room. I hear the breathing through the teeth, breathing of something with teeth that don't all fit in its mouth. What constitutes fangs? Why are fangs not just teeth? Is it being on the outside of your mouth? Saber-toothed tigers, not saber-fanged tigers, right? This thing, it moves around, it skulks, feeding off the discomfort of the situation, knowing that I am frozen with fear. Killers often take pleasure in the hunt and the control of a situation. Mesmerizingly slow, the thing, this abomination of my own psyche, moves toward me. It moves in to explain the feeling of teeth too large for its mouth. Right at the climax, right at the point of death, the sweet release of all the doom and horror, I wake up. But there lies the real horror. I open my eyes. I am awake. I am in my dark room. But I cannot move. Did you know ancient mythologies told stories of demons holding people down in their sleep to use their bodies? That's succubi and incubi, if you want to look it up. That all came around through sleep paralysis. So I get to lie there, paralyzed, between awake and asleep. My body's still thinking I'm dreaming, my mind fresh with the thought of teeth too large for a mouth tearing away into my body. I don't even get the job of being killed by a succubus. From what I've read, that at least sounds fun. My eyes fixed on the ceiling, waiting to see the agent of malice, to finally hear the punchline, no matter how awful it is. But I never see it. The joke never ends. Eventually, slowly, my body begins to regain the movement. Trembling like a newborn colt, slowly relearning itself piece by piece, awkwardly moving, performing the most mundane actions to prove to myself that I can in fact move. Then suddenly I can move, but the agony of the paralysis has cheated me of the joy of proving that this was in fact a nightmare. It haunts me. It stays with me. I have to hold on to that dread here in the real world. It stays with me like a scar I've always get to see and can't let go. I lay in this bed, stuck here so much you would be amazed. Amazed how much I think about stuff like this. My mind ebbs and flows with a sad alacrity. I hope you don't have to deal with this kind of thing. I hope you sleep like a log. I don't ever say sleep like a baby. I've lived with a baby, and I don't want you to sleep like that, waking up all the time, peeing on yourself. I'll go with the log for now. I hope when you read this, I'm not scared anymore. I hope that the real monster here, the real reason I am stuck here, has released me from this nightmare. They say sleep paralysis can be brought on by stress. Big surprise. All the best. Letter 2. Loss aversion. Dear T, I bet you $100 that I can get out of here. One day I can get out of this bed and leave, wherever this is. If you don't want money, I can offer you something else, but I want to place a bet. I want to place a bet so the loss aversion part of my brain kicks in. A long time ago, I used to play a game with my friends. We all thought we were pretty good at it, but you never really saw what we could do until we started betting on it. The winner would get some simple prize, a few bucks or dinner or something, but the simple thought of losing something, anything, raised our effort level to the maximum. I want to use that same effort to leave here. Studies say loss is twice as powerful as gain. How can they quantify that? They say losing $5 is twice the negative quantity as the positive of gaining $5. I don't know if you can quantify that in such a way. Is losing one person twice as bad as gaining one person? What does it even mean to gain a person? But we know when we lose someone. When you intentionally make a decision, knowing the risk and knowing the possible rewards, you are using what's called prospect theory. Can you use prospect theory in life? Do we always value loss a great deal more than gain? Does it sound odd to you? What would I give to get out of here? I feel like I'd give anything to know you were reading this. I would take 2 times the pain of anything for being able to talk with you about these letters. The prospect of gain versus the value of loss. Value of loss. That's a ridiculous sentence. It is surprising how much loss drives you, though. Losing a loved one can change your life, push you into changing yourself more than any self-help group or late-night feel-good commercial can do. I read a book once called Happiness is a Choice. Did you hear me sigh at the end of saying that? So you can just choose to make everything okay. So is there no cause or effect, no symmetry, no physics to emotion, huh? How many times has a huge loss made someone change? Hitting rock bottom is just loss, and that's the turning point. Loss aversion is having something to lose. Rock bottom is when you have lost everything. I wish there was a cooler name for it. Rock bottom is cool. It has a weight to it, but loss aversion it's too clinical. Maybe pain dodging or something like loss-induced hustle. In some circles, they call it being a tryhard. Whenever there is something to lose from something important to just mere pride, we kick it into gear. But having something more to lose can drive you, and I want it to drive me. I mean, I don't have $100 with me. I don't have much of anything here in this room, but I'm sure if I could get out, if I could get to you, I'd get it to you. Losing something brings us introspection, though. I only know what I have. I can only know how much it hurts to lose something if I have something to lose. I wish we were more inherently opposed to getting hurt emotionally as we are physically. It's easy physically. Your body sort of knows what kind of stuff looks dangerous from years and years of human evolving and growing. But emotionally, well, we'll touch that stove over and over emotionally to see if it's hot. I mean, curiosity is one thing, but once you know something's going to hurt you, I mean, most people stop. You don't see people grabbing pots off the stove over and over. After that one time, you know it's going to burn you. But the thought of losing something, the thought of losing the attention or the love of someone is worth that burn every time. Losing that person makes you look inside yourself and see that there's a hole there and that you will do anything, endure any pain to fill that hole. I feel like I've lost everything being here. By now I've probably lost my job. I wonder if my loved ones have moved on. I wonder if my favorite sports teams have moved cities, or the guy who I'm waiting to write my favorite line of books has died. I wonder about you a lot. I wonder what you think about me. I wonder if I can make $100 just by seeing you again. All the best. Letter 3. Vital Statistics. Dear T, what are the chances I escape? Given there's a pencil and paper here, and how I love the antiquated feel of graphite and wood scratching out on dead trees, I feel the need to quantify my chances. Without the appropriate footwork or an episode of Unsolved Mysteries to help, I'm going to go with 25%. That's low, right? Maybe even a little pessimistic. I mean, maybe 25% would sound better if you said You had 25% chance of winning the lottery or 25% chance of getting a free side with your meal. But when you say 25% chance of escaping a trap, then, well, that's low, I think. Maybe it's because my favorite statistics are usually those horrible conspiracy theory statistics that are probably true, but also scary and odd. 90% of Americans live within 15 minutes of a Walmart. This means if I can get out the door or window, which have no locks but somehow will not budge, I will only need to run 15 minutes, right? That's sad. That's a sad silver lining, if I've ever seen a metaphorical silver lining. So basically, I should be worried about the ice caps melting or the fact that each year toasters kill more people than sharks. And that sucks. I really like toast. Speaking of food, the food here isn't all bad. It's somewhere between low-grade fast food but above school cafeteria food. Every time I wake up, there's a stash of food inside the door. Who knows how it gets there, and who knows how whoever's putting it there knows I'm asleep. I've tried faking and sleeping at crazy times, but eventually I always fall asleep and dream and have nightmares and wake up to mundane food. Worcestershire sauce is made from dissolved fish. I guess we should be happy there's food at all. Now optimism, right? There are about 800 million people worldwide who are classified as overweight or obese, and another 800 million people who are starving. I know what you're thinking, but cannibalism is never the answer. Never. Stop thinking that. Never. I mean, me being worried about my own life is directly related to me. It doesn't help that I've seen Misery and The Cube and all those M. Night Shyamalan movies with that split crazy personality guy. There are 35 to 50 active serial killers in the United States at any given moment. I mean, about how many scorpions kill people each year halfway around the world is pointless, especially now, right? Looking out the window at this yard littered with things I think about moving through to get to a Walmart a mere 15 minutes away. The yard is normal in some regards. It has a winding dirt driveway that snakes out into the distance. There's an old car, some model long forgotten, up on stones with those weeds around it like you don't own a weed eater or don't like weed eating. There's another building, a barn or a workshop or taxidermy building. I never see anyone coming or going, but sometimes the lights are on and I can see shadows dancing around in there. Stuffing squirrels, probably. And yes, before you ask, I've tried smashing the windows, like we talked about, but there are bars there, and it's a pretty fair drop-off. I wasn't a physics major, but I feel that even if I could jump out the window, that I would most likely fall and break something important and be worse off than when I started. But based on my situation, change would be good, for the better or worse. Took a chair and broke a window one day, but nothing came of it. When I awoke the next day, the window was whole again, but there wasn't any food that day. Keeping me in my place, I suppose. Glass can be recycled indefinitely without loss of quality or purity. I know I ramble on here, but something's going on. Something I don't understand, and something I'm not in control of. If you're reading this, then you know something. What do you know? Isn't it odd that you know things right now that I don't know right now? But you will know later. I hope one day I know you know what you know after reading this. All the best. And that concludes part 1 of 3 of Hard Decisions and One-Way Streets. The readings you heard were by me. The music you heard was by my friend Scott, and also from my friend Lexi, who helped with creating all of the music that you heard in the podcast today. I really appreciate everyone tuning in. I hope you enjoyed what you heard. I hope you got something out of it, and I really hope you come back and listen to the next 2 parts of this story. I'll be posting the next 2 parts on YouTube in the next few days, so if you just check back, you can finish out the story and see what happens to our character. I also want to give a few more thank yous and shout outs to all the people that made this possible. I want to thank God, of course, for letting me do any of this. I want to thank Kim, Scott, Kat, Lynn, Shannon, Sierra, Lexi, and Steve Bird. All of those people who helped me just create any of this. This is, as I said before, a true labor of love. It's just something I've wanted to do, and just thank you for tuning in. Hope to see you at the next one. All the best.